How to protect your brain from stress. Have you ever thought about how to protect your brain from the constant effects of stress? It would be great if there were easy, effective ways to keep your mind safe and clear even when things are stressful. There are useful tips and techniques in this video that will help you protect your brain from the bad effects of stress. When one is under a great deal of stress, it is not unusual to experience feelings of disorganization and forgetfulness. Over the course of a longer period of time, however, stress may actually alter your brain in ways that have an effect on your memory. According to Dr. Kerry Ressler, Chief Scientific Officer at McLean Hospital and Professor of Psychiatry at Harvard Medical School, studies conducted on both animals and people have demonstrated rather unequivocally that stress can have an effect on the functioning of the biological brain. When people are exposed to stress, whether it is stress that is induced in a laboratory environment or stress that is experienced in real life, scientists have observed changes in the way that the brain processes information. When it comes to the latter, researchers might put their participants through a challenging activity, such as counting backwards from the number 1073 by 13s as they are being graded. The cognitive, attentional, and memory functions appear to be negatively impacted by either sort of stress, according to him. According to Jill Goldstein, a professor of psychiatry and medicine at Harvard Medical School, stress not only makes it difficult to remember things and affects a wide variety of other brain processes, such as mood and anxiety, but it also causes inflammation, which has a negative impact on the health of the heart. As a result, stress has been linked to a number of chronic disorders that affect the heart and brain. It is also possible for it to have a different impact on men and women, according to her. The relationship between stress and the brain. It is essential to have a basic understanding of the functioning of the brain in order to comprehend the reasons why stress has an effect on thinking and memory. According to Dr. Ressler, your brain is not a single unit, but rather a collection of diverse sections that each contribute to the performance of a specific function. According to him, researchers feel that while one area of your brain is engaged, the other sections of your brain may not have as much energy to accomplish their own critical jobs. This is something that he shares with the researchers. For instance, if you are in a precarious or emotionally taxing circumstance, the amygdala, which is the part of your brain that controls your instincts for survival, may take control. This leaves the parts of your brain that are responsible for storing memories and performing higher-order tasks with less energy and the ability to complete their own tasks. The basic idea is that the brain is shunting its resources because it's in survival mode, not memory mode. According to researcher Dr. Ressler, while you are under a lot of stress, you may find that you forget things more easily, and you may even experience memory lapses while you are going through terrible experiences. In addition, according to Goldstein, the impact that stress has on the brain and the body may vary based on the time period in which it occurs in the course of an individual's life. It is possible that some hormones, which are referred to as gonadal hormones, may play a role in the way that stress affects an individual. These hormones are secreted in significant quantities during fetal development, puberty, and pregnancy, but they are depleted during menopause. For example, reductions in the gonadal hormone estradiol during the menopausal transition may change how our brain responds to stress, according to the researcher. Put yourself in a position to avoid harmful stress. If you want to be better able to deal with stress, you should think about ways to reduce the elements that make it worse. You may improve your ability to manage stress and hopefully prevent some of the negative effects that stress could have on your brain by following the advice that is provided in this video. Obtain some degree of control of the situation you are in. Concentrate on controlling the things that are under your control if stress is not foreseeable. In his capacity as a professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School, Dr. Kerry Ressler asserts that having a routine is good for development and health. Regularity is a stress-relieving element. Make sure you get a restful night's sleep. Sleep problems can be a consequence of stress, and the inability to sleep that follows can make stress even more difficult to manage. Sleep deprivation makes parts of the brain that handle higher-order functions work less well, according to psychologist Dr. Ressler. Setting up good sleeping habits can be of assistance. In this context, going to bed and waking up at the same time each day refers to the practice of avoiding coffee after noon and establishing a sleep environment that is conducive to relaxation. Organize your life. The use of techniques that assist in the management of your workload can also help reduce stress. For instance, you should prepare a detailed list of the things that you need to complete on a daily basis. This manner, your responsibilities won't appear to be too arduous. Creating a list also provides you with a distinct endpoint, which enables you to determine when you have completed everything. Laying tasks out like this helps reduce the feeling that the brain is being bombarded, according to the researcher. You can also use it to determine when you are likely to experience stress in your life. If you feel you require assistance, seek it out. Making an effort to connect with others might assist you in developing more resilience and improving your ability to manage stress, which may eventually maintain the health of your brain. The handicap that is induced by stress-related issues later on may be reduced if intervention is performed earlier. The way you think about stress should be altered. A life without stress is not only impossible, but also would likely be pretty uninteresting. In fact, a certain degree of stress is helpful for growth, according to the researcher. Therefore, rather than aiming for a stress-free life, you should focus on managing stress in a more healthy way. Changes in the brain throughout time. According to Dr. Ressler, there is evidence to suggest that chronic stress, also known as persistent stress, may potentially rewire your brain. Scientists have discovered that animals that are subjected to continuous stress have a lower level of activity in the regions of their brains that are responsible for higher-order functions, such as the prefrontal cortex. On the other hand, these animals have a higher level of activity in the primitive regions of their brains that are focused on survival, such as the amygdala. A lot of similarities can be drawn between this and what would occur if you exercise one portion of your body but not another. According to him, the component that was engaged more frequently would become more powerful, while the component that received less attention would become less powerful. This is what appears to take place in the brain when it is subjected to persistent stress. It essentially strengthens the part of the brain that is intended to deal with dangers, while the part of the brain that is responsible for more complicated thought takes a back seat. According to Dr. Ressler, these changes in the brain may be reversible in certain situations, but it may be more challenging to reverse them in other situations, depending on the nature of the stress and the length of time it was there. Some study has discovered that persons who demonstrate resilience in the face of past childhood trauma actually appear to have evolved new brain mechanisms to compensate for the effects of the trauma. This is despite the fact that stressful childhood events appear to have a greater toll on the developing brain. According to him, it is believed that these new connections assist in overcoming stress-related brain modifications that were developed earlier in life. Is there a universal degree of stress? Despite the fact that the impact of stress on the brain has been extensively researched and recorded, it is not entirely known which specific types of stress are more likely to be detrimental and increase the likelihood of memory issues later in life. Do problems with the brain occur when you are under a moderate amount of stress, or do they only occur when you are under stress for an extended period of time? That's a tough question, because stress is a broad term that is used to describe a lot of different things, according to Dr. Ressler. There is a significant difference between the stress that you could experience before taking an exam and the stress that you might experience as a result of being involved in a vehicle accident or from having a prolonged sickness. Certainly, more stress is likely worse, and long-term stress is generally worse than short-term stress, says the psychologist Dr. Ressler. According to him, however, there are other factors that magnify the negative effects of stress. To be more specific, unpredictability is a feature of strain. Research conducted on animals demonstrates that animals that were able to predict a stressor, such as receiving a shock when a light was turned on, were less stressed than animals that were randomly given the same number of shocks. According to Dr. Ressler, things are the same in human beings. A person is less likely to suffer negative consequences from stress that appears to be more random if they are able to predict it. The stress does not have a time limit attached to it. If you are enduring tension because of a forthcoming exam or a presentation at work, there is a time at which you will know that the stress you are experiencing will come to an end and you will feel relief. If the stress has no end point, for instance, if you are persistently anxious about your finances, it may be more difficult to manage with the situations that you find yourself in. You don't have support. If you are able to feel supported while you are experiencing stress, you will have a better chance of effectively overcoming it than if you do not. If you're eager to learn more about protecting your brain from stress and want to stay ahead in your mental wellness journey, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Join us for more insights and practical tips to keep your mind healthy and resilient.